Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. A session on 5 ways how Copilot enhances professors' workflows. In this session, we are going to discuss how Microsoft 365 Copilot can revolutionize the way professors at UTD manage their academic responsibilities. We have Blake Holland today, who is going to present 5 practical scenarios where Copilot assists professors in creating lecture materials, grading assignments, scheduling office hours, conducting research, and communicating with students. We are excited to introduce Blake Holland from the technical team lead for the Enterprise Technology Innovation and Experience team. Blake brings over 15 years of enterprise IT experience, and we are confident that his expertise will significantly enhance our team capabilities and service quality. Blake will be finishing his degree in cybersecurity at UTD and is excited to bring a fresh perspective to education in IT. His extensive experience as an IT admin has equipped him with a broad approach to his role. Originally from Dallas, Texas here, Blake now resides in Farmers Branch with his wife and 2 daughters. And outside of his work, he enjoys cooking, especially grilling and smoking, soccer, football, and PC gaming. With that said, I'll pass over the mic to Blake and continue with his presentation. Good luck, Blake.
Thank you very much. Can everyone hear me? Everyone good?
Yeah, we can hear you, see you.
Perfect.
And we can see your slides as well.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the introduction. I think I went a little bit lengthy on mine. My bad. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started today. So this is going to be 5 ways Copilot can enhance professors' workflows. So one thing that we have absolutely received a lot of feedback on was how this can change the way the university interacts with its students. So this is definitely something that we have been working on and working towards. This presentation, just to clarify, is going to be over the free version of Copilot. It's not going to be over the Microsoft 365 version of Copilot, which is a paid version. If you are looking for information on those, it's going to be the recordings for the meetings that Micah did and Amanda did yesterday and the day before. There is a ton of information out there on that. This is going to be something that you can utilize now, which is great. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So just a brief recap on the ways of making an effective prompt. So these are called the 4 elements of the effective prompts. This is something that Microsoft introduced whenever they introduced Copilot: goal, context, expectations, and source. I'm going to give you guys a quick example of that, and then we are going to get started with some of the actual tips and tricks that I can give you guys for real world examples. All right, so the goal, this guy right here, is just a quick one that they made on their website. I thought this information was pretty nice. This is a very, very good way to remember how to do your prompts going forward. If you want to get a little bit more detailed with them, this is the way to do it. So, all right, so just to show real quick prompt that I wanted to start out with was, as a professor, can you give me a clean new slang to connect with your younger generation? Now, this is something that I thought was kind of interesting. Obviously, we want to keep it as clean as possible, right? But we want to understand what these kids are saying. And I thought this was interesting for you guys, and it's also beneficial for me because I have a 1-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I'm probably going to be introduced to these pretty soon. So this was the response that I got right here. The response is absolutely. Here are some phrases that can help you connect with younger generations. Riz, your ability to flirt with charm effortlessly, right? And it gives the example. Cap, you're lying, that's not true. Drip, stylish clothing, shoes, and accessories. Low key, an opinion you're trying to be subtle about. So these are all different things that it gives a pretty good example on, but we want to get a little bit more detailed on these examples, right? So how does this apply to me? So one good step that I like to take with Copilot is to use Copilot to help me use Copilot. It's a fantastic tool to use. Why not use it to help me use it? So this is where you can get kind of a little bit more in depth with it. So what I like to do is I can ask it, hey, can you elevate this prompt using the elements of an effective prompt? Context, expectation, goals, and source. Try to clarify this because there are actually some effective prompts for other AIs that it tries to pull out of every once in a while. So we try to be a little bit more direct with it. And then as a mathematics professor, can you give me a clean new slang to connect with the younger generation? Right? So we're going to get a little bit more effective prompt. Now this next slide has a lot of colors on this. I apologize, but I assure you the colors actually make sense. So where this starts to kind of dig deeper is the context, right? As an algebra professor, I want to better connect with my younger students. Expectations, could you provide me with a clean contemporary slang terms that are popular? Source, among the younger generation being used on social media and YouTube. Goal, along with examples of how to use them appropriately in an algebra classroom setting. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at this and see what it brings. So it's going to bring a lot of similar things because obviously this is not a huge one. So you have a 2,000 character limit. So you can get as creative with these as you want. Jump in to Copilot real quick. I'm going to copy this, swap over, and we're going to paste this in here. See what it brings to the table. See what we can learn. All right. So scroll up here. Give us a lot more than it gave me before, which is great. And that's something we can even put in the prompt as well. If you want a specific number, you can actually ask it a specific number, right? So it gives Riz, but check out the example. You've got Mad Riz. If you can solve this equation without any help. So it just kind of adding the context changes the example. So as you can see, it gets a little bit more in depth with what it's going to give you, which is very nice. We love seeing these. Cap, no cap, the quadratic equation is tricky, but you can handle it, right? Maybe that's a good way to word it. I don't know. But, and then obviously we have the low key. We're talking about it. Yeah. Means we have no, yeah, exactly. Means we have no Riz. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that as a father of two. They haven't gotten there yet, but I'm sure mine are going to happen pretty soon. I'm going to start talking like that, and I'm just dissing me constantly. So, yeah, but obviously there's some more here, but the low key, I think algebra is the coolest subject. It just kind of adds that little flair, right? And that's what we're kind of looking to give you guys access to, is like the training and the knowledge on how to actually use this tool. Because using this tool, anyone can jump in and start typing things, right? You can jump in and start typing whatever, just like a search engine. It'll work for you in whatever you need. It's the accuracy that you can create that makes this tool very powerful. So, all right, we're going to jump back over. And we're going to go over some of the actual examples here. So these are kind of real life examples. So let's create some lecture material, right? Copilot, can you help me create a PowerPoint presentation on the topic of quantum mechanics for my upcoming lecture? Obviously, I'm not teaching anything about quantum mechanics. I wouldn't touch that. That would be awful. So anytime you're going into a new subject on Copilot, it's a great idea to start a new chat. Starting a new chat is very important. It's just like using the memory clear on a calculator. You don't want it to accidentally use some of the calculations you already put in. All right, so I put that in and we're getting our results now. Did not specify slide number, did not specify exactly what I wanted it to cover. As you can see, this looks kind of like almost a syllabus PowerPoint of quantum mechanics. I'm not going to go deep into details on the slides because, to be completely honest, I wouldn't understand what it would say anyway. So it gives you some really cool key figures. Awesome. That's great. Looks like it's giving me a lot of information, which is really, really good. So that's very helpful and very good if you want that. However, let's go a little bit further here. All right. So this is the elevated prompt that I was able to get with the prompt elevation from back on this slide. Can you elevate this prompt using the elements of an effective prompt? And then you can just type in the prompt, right? And that's what I did here. It was able to create me an elevated prompt. I was making these PowerPoints different than what Amanda showed us yesterday. So making this PowerPoint, that's a very good question. So this is the free version of Copilot. And what she was showing off yesterday was the paid version of Copilot that we are beta testing. The paid version can actually create the PowerPoint presentation at a much more accurate rate. And actually, you can do it in the PowerPoint app itself. So that's kind of what she was showing off. And if you tuned into the Micah's presentation over the different ways of using it and different things, he was showing that off as well on how you use it in each app. So that's a good question. This is just for the free version. It's creating the content. You still do have to create the PowerPoint, but it lightens the mental load of what am I putting on what slide, right? So we're going to go ahead and put in Copilot, can you help me create a PowerPoint presentation on the topic of quantum mechanics for the upcoming lecture? Oh, it scrolls you down automatically. That's very nice. The presentation should cover key concepts such as wave-particle duality, quantum entanglement, and the uncertainty principle. I need engaging visuals, clear explanations, and real-world application to make the content accessible for my students. Additionally, please include speaker notes. This is a really nice one. I actually got this from Amanda's presentation yesterday, was the speaker notes, to guide me through each slide and suggest interactive elements. So what this does is it goes and creates all of the different content for you, right? So as you can see, all the different slides are created. Now it landed on 12 exactly. So if you want more slides or less slides, you can tell it that. You can actually change that. PowerPoint templates, would you like any specific details on additional slides included? Right here. So you can actually go ahead and tell it like, I need this, or hey, that's too many slides. Let's go back down. So let's jump back over. Actually, I'm going to tell it to slide count to 8. There we go. Just a second here. As you can see, it looks like it's making bigger slides. Yeah. It looks like it's just putting more information on each slide, which is great. That means you have to click a lot less, right? And maybe that's what your content is. Here we go. Version not make a PowerPoint, only bullets. So I don't believe the free version makes a PowerPoint. No, it does not make a PowerPoint. But does Gemini make PowerPoints? It makes Google PowerPoints. So it can make actually, I don't think the free version of Gemini makes PowerPoints either. I think Gemini can create content just like you're saying. You would have to copy and paste this in. So, but yeah, and you can even add sources as well. That's something right here, these different links. So if you have a link in specific, so right here, you can see all the different sources at the bottom. This is the bottom of the first response, by the way. Sorry, I've done a lot of scrolling. This is the bottom of the first response, by the way. It shows you all the different sources that it's pulling from. Kind of amazing at how many different things it can pull from. But you can actually add your source into the prompt as well, which is very, very helpful. So if you have an online documentation or online textbook of sorts, you can pull from that directly, which is very nice. Let's go ahead and jump back in. All right, so now we have all of our PowerPoint things. We can set up our PowerPoint. We can just basically copy and paste this into the PowerPoint template of our choice. All right, let's see. While writing prompts, some people use information in quotation marks. Yes. So that's actually a good question, Hamed. The quotation marks are really good to utilize for if you're giving it context, like a date or a location or something like that. If you're trying to give it context, we're going to go over the parentheses a little bit later. That can be used in that aspect. It does see them as parentheses, but it doesn't always use the information inside of the parentheses correctly if it's in the wrong context. So if that makes sense. Does being conversational, full sentences, adverbs like this additionally, etc., add to the effectiveness of results as opposed to using keywords? Absolutely. Yes, Paul. 100% adds a lot of it, especially if you give it, like I said, the goal, the expectations, the source, and the context. If you add to those, that will add to your results with Copilot. Again, that's what I said. It makes it a lot more powerful if you just add to it. And some people use it like I'm using it, and they will build up their prompt and have one big prompt. Some people will just have a whole conversation. So it just kind of depends on what way you want to use it. If you wanted to start with a simple question and then build from that, you can definitely do it. But I find building a prompt like this much more effective. That gives you instantaneous results. So that's a quick way to make lecture material. And you can also do bullet points and stuff like that, topic notes and everything like that. But keep going. So this is going to be grading assignments. So this is a pretty interesting one. This is one that kind of gave me different results as well. I did this a few different times, so we'll see what happens here. But Copilot, can you assist me in grading a recent batch of assignments on machine learning? Of course, I can help you review and grade the assignments based on the provided rubric, ensuring consistency and fairness in the evaluation process. Fair enough. All right, and then I asked it to create me a grading rubric, and it can help with that as well, which is fantastic. But if you already have a grading rubric, you can actually utilize the file right here. So you can add the file through here. Let's go over to essay rubric. So you can add the actual rubric here, ask it to grade an essay based on this rubric, and it can do just that. Obviously, this is not a tool that you want to use to grade it and then just send it, right? You don't want to just send it, right? It's just a quick, okay, this will give me a really good glance, a good start, and that way grading each essay just comes a little bit easier, comes a little bit quicker. So that's something you can definitely utilize. I don't really have a good essay to grade, and this is a rubric that I found online, so we're not really going to do that one. But what we're going to do here is show you how we can actually utilize the elevated prompt. So the elevated prompt, Copilot, can you assist me in grading the recent batch of assignments on machine learning? This assignment covers topics such as supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and neural networks. I need help evaluating the accuracy of models, the clarity of explanations, and the overall presentation. Additionally, please provide constructive feedback for each student to help them improve their understanding and skill. This is something that was really, really neat. I saw a really good video online for this, and it was some of the things that it was telling were pretty good for new chat. I almost broke my own rule. It even tells you the example of the feedbacks, which is really, really nice. So you can either okay this example of a feedback, you can add to the example of a feedback. Please add. Yes, that's a good point, Catherine. There are definitely some ethical issues in doing that. If you were to just use the AI to grade it outright, yeah, I could definitely see that. But this is mostly just a starting point. It just gives you a little bit of the mental load off. It takes some of the standard grading practices that you do on every single one, and it just adds them to it. Then obviously you would still grade it, but you would only have a few things you'd be looking for as opposed to the entirety of the rubric, right? So some of it might not be as good at grading as the human eye, but it can definitely help by taking taking the workload off. So again, this is not something that you are required to do. This is not something that anyone is, we're not mandating anything here. This is mostly just a tool that you can use. Some of you guys will be able to use this grading assignment thing today. Some of you it might take a little bit of AI to catch up with what you need. So it just kind of depends. All right, so that's a good way to grade. All it basically did was create this little example feedback right here just to okay it, and you can even do change some of the feedback styles as well. So right here I added writing style. It gives quick little glances on different tips, stuff like that. So it can even add some writing style tips as well for your students. That way you can go in here whenever you do submit their paper, you would be able to kind of add to it. So another thing you can do in the pages, whenever you get one of these responses, is you can actually immediately edit these things, right? Have you guys worked in Pages at all? Because this is an incredible tool to use. You can edit your response, which is amazing. This is something I constantly do in Copilot. So you can go in here, edit the pages, say, I don't really care about organization. I'm not going to worry about that because that's covered somewhere else on it, right? So we can just skip that one. And there you go. And that page, whenever you create it, whenever you click page, is always available in your pages in office.com. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this place, but I have a ton right here. And this is something that you can always reference back to, which is very, very nice. All right. Anyone have any questions about any of this so far? Oh, the supported file types. Gotcha. I didn't mention that. It's going to be PDF, Word, and is it there? I think it's PDF and Word files currently. Yeah. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next part. So another good thing that you can utilize it for is scheduling office hours. So scheduling office hours can be kind of tricky sometimes, but if you're able to actually give it the information, it will be able to spit out some pretty good office hours for you. So as you can see, Copilot, can you help me schedule my office hours for the upcoming semester? Certainly, I can assist you in setting up your office hours, ensuring they're evenly distributed throughout the week. Do not conflict with other things. And it goes on here. I'm going to show you this real quick because I think that there was a little bit more response. Again, new chat. There we go. This was the response I was looking for. All right. So absolutely, I'd be able to help you with that. Could you provide me with a few details? Right. Okay. So let's say we'll do Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Three hours. Three straights. That's a good example of just kind of chatting back and forth. And it's telling me right here, oh, cool. Here's a proposed schedule, and it goes based off of just the usual schedules that it can see online, which is fantastic. But if we wanted to get a little bit more detailed with this, we can definitely do that. So a good way to do that is, now we're getting a little bit bigger, right? A little bit bigger on the actual elevated prompts. And this is kind of what I'm talking about. You can get all the way down into the details of what you need specifically. And Copilot can generally give you at least something in the right direction. So Copilot, I need your assistance in scheduling my office hours for the upcoming semester. My goal is to ensure that these hours are convenient for both myself and my students. Please consider the following factors: my teaching schedule, student availability, and any University of Texas at Dallas guidelines regarding office hours. And this is something I can actually pull online. Bless you. Additionally, I'd like to balance my office hours across different days and times to accommodate diverse student schedules. Can you help me create a well-organized and accessible office hour schedule? Awesome. That is a prompt. Let's go ahead and we can paste it in the same one because we're still working. All right. Absolutely. Okay. This is good. Review teaching schedule, consider student availability, and university guidelines. So it's even giving us some help, like a helpful hand on like, hey, check these things out real quick. But based on your availables, here you go. Pretty simple, pretty good. And then you can post these office hours in your different classrooms in Blackboard as well, just so your students are aware of when you can be contacted, when they can schedule a visit. Okay, something else you can be utilized as is as a research assistant. So this is kind of an interesting one because your results may vary, right? Depending on what you're researching. So in this one, I just chose artificial intelligence just because it made sense. Let's see what it gives us right here. This is just the basic prompt. All right, so it gives us 3 different sources, which is nice. That's pretty good, but I think we can do a little bit better, right? Go back, and this is going to be our elevated prompt that we utilized the 4 elements in. I need your assistance in finding research papers on artificial intelligence and education. My goal is to gather up-to-date information that can help me understand the latest advancements, applications, and challenges in the field. So it's giving different things to look for, right? Please consider the following factors. Paper published within the last 5 years, reputable academic journals, and topics such as personalized learning, intelligent tutoring systems, and ethical considerations. So this is great. We're getting it all the way down to these fine little details. Additionally, I'd like to access papers that provide empirical evidence and practical insight. Could you help me compile a comprehensive list of relevant research papers? Pretty good, pretty precise. Let's see what it gives. Still 3 sources, right? Still 3. Probably a little bit better sources, but let's see if we can do more. There we go. So you can keep going from there, right? If you wanted even more, you can have it add more and more and more. And then you can take all these different places, all these different sources, go with them. I do not know if it can access GSTOR. I'm not sure. It's a good question. I wouldn't be able to answer that. I apologize. But if it's accessible to the public, it is accessible to Copilot. So, all right, let's see what Paul says. Often I'll be looking to use some content, and I see on a specific website for an upcoming lecture. Sometimes this is behind a firewall. Can I reference the URL and perhaps make it through the paywall, or should I do copy paste of what I see? Copy and paste of what you see in Word could probably a little bit better. So if you're researching this on your own, and then you also wanted to add to it, you could also take it. You can use your prompt, right? Use your prompt to get your information, have that copied and pasted, and utilize Pages to add it in with the Pages and actually edit. Does that make sense? So it's just something you can just throw into Pages that adds to your sources. Because if it's behind a paywall, it's most likely Copilot won't be able to access it. But if it is something on like a news site, if it is something that is in a database that is accessible, then we can definitely it can definitely research and find it. So ask Sasha. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Didn't think about that, but Sasha would definitely know that. Show my students the library beta research assistant. And they had fun prompting it for articles. Yeah, it's very, very cool to use. Whenever you give it sources, it can be a lot of fun. Thank you, Katie. All right, let's jump on to the next slide. So obviously researching can be quite time consuming, and this is more or less a way better version of Google, right? So because you can ask this kind of question, you can get exactly what you want, which is much more powerful than Google sitting there and scrolling through pages and pages and pages of what you don't even need, or like you were talking about earlier, Paul, dealing with paywalls, right? Paywalls, not fun. Not fun to have to click those links and find out, oh, I can't even access this information. That's great. This kind of takes a lot of that guesswork out of it, gives you a good starting point. And then obviously you will want to go and check those sources, as anyone should. But it gives you the links at the bottom and you can start from there. It's very fantastic. So, all right. And then one other thing that we can utilize it for is communication. This is something that I often use it for, just drafting emails. So this works more than just for contacting students. This works for a lot of different cases. So if you need to draft an email out to a lot of different people, or like maybe your own department, use Copilot. It's fantastic at writing prompts. So, excuse me. Pilot, can you draft an email to my students reminding them about the upcoming midterms? I think we're a little past midterms, but let's do this. Cool. As you can see, just a quick, let's just scroll. Dear students, I hope this message finds you well. This is a friendly reminder about our upcoming midterm exam scheduled for insert date at insert time. Please make sure to review all the materials covered in the class, including chapters, insert chapters, additional readings. As you can see, it goes over this information just so it's readily accessible. So even if they skim it, they'll see it, right? This is pretty good formatting. So important points to remember, goes into the details on this, and then it leaves room for a simple signature. Obviously in Word, whenever you copy and paste this into Word, your signature will probably already be there. So most of the time you'll just have to leave this out. But yeah, really good. Honestly, pretty solid for just a basic prompt. Like I said, it is fantastic at this kind of thing, but let's see what we get from an elevated version. All right, so Copilot, I need your assistance in drafting an email to my students, reminding them about the upcoming midterm exam. My goal is to ensure the email is clear, informative, encourages students to prepare effectively. Please include the following details: date and time of the exam. In parentheses right here, I added this. So this is what we were talking about earlier. You were asking about, does it read parentheses? It does. It just has to kind of be added on to the fact, if that makes sense. So it's good to just kind of add some information. It's a great tool to use. Parentheses are a good tool to use if you are building a prompt like I did, and then you are adding to it. Parentheses can be fantastic. Put in the correct spot. Topics that will be covered, any material that need to bring, tips for effective study. Additionally, I would like to convey a supportive tone, reminding them that I'm available for any questions or concerns they may have. Can you help me create a well-structured and engaging email? So this is really cool too. The way that you can have different tones in emails is fantastic. And I hope it creates a good one, because it created a good one a few different times whenever I tried this. But it was very warm and very welcoming. I'm going to create a new chat real quick. Still on chats. All right. It did. Cool. This is quite a bit longer, right? Quite a bit longer, but a little bit more detailed. Dear students, I hope this message finds you well. As an approach to the midterm exam, I wanted to remind you of some important details to ensure you are well prepared. As you can see, hope this message finds you well. It's already nice, supportive tone. It's pretty good. Midterm exam, time and date. Perfect. Exam will cover the following topics, and then it just gives you kind of like some blank topics right here. I don't think, did we put that in there? Yeah. Okay. We didn't really put that. It just says, so adding right here, this right here is kind of adding different sections, right? So that's kind of what it does. Topics covered, materials to bring, study tips. These are the different things it's adding for the sections. So you're kind of formatting while you're asking. Very, very cool. Materials to bring, study tips. And then remember, I am here to support you. If you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. You can contact me via email during office hours. So this is great to start out with, and you can edit it whatever way you want. Obviously, you can jump into pages. You can take out whatever you need. Let's go ahead and take out the signature. And then you can add whatever you need into each section, or take out whatever you need in each section, and you're good to go. Study tips are pretty solid. Calculator, I was never allowed to use those, so we're going to take that out. So I was never going to have a calculator in real life, right? All right. Pretty good. You can copy and paste this. Not subject. Into your email. There you go. That took, what, 30 seconds to a minute to fully do this. And as opposed to writing this whole thing out, I mean, that saves time right there. So even if you take nothing away from this, if you don't like the grading assignments, if you don't like anything, this is usable 100%. This is something I use it for constantly. This is kind of like my starting part of using Copilot. Great place to start is the communication side of things. If you're just trying to write out an email, something, maybe even just posting something on Blackboard, you could have Copilot take a lot of it. So yeah, it's a very, very effective way to use it. And yeah, like I said, Copilot is a tool to add to your tool belt. It is not an end-all, be-all kind of thing. You can't go to AI and have it figure out all of your different things. Unfortunately, they don't do dishes yet, which is just frustrating to me that I still have to do dishes in 2025. But yeah, so now I'm going to open it up to you guys. Do you guys have any questions, any concerns? I made all of these images with AI, and if you can spot any weird things about it, let me know, because there are some weird things about these pictures. But these were all created in Copilot. It's definitely something you can also do as well. So we just wanted to thank you on behalf of the OIT department. Thank you, professors, for all that you do. We're here to support you. We're here to help you keep teaching these students in the amazing ways that you do. So I hope this was informative. And if you guys wanted to, we even have 20 more minutes if you wanted to go ahead and get into any prompts that you wanted me to try out, if you're curious. So yeah, feel free to unmute yourself right now if you have any questions. Yeah. Thank you. It's pretty interesting how it does that, but yeah. Okay. You have a question? Okay. Okay.
So you use AI a lot. I came in about 2 minutes late. I'm wondering how you engage with AI with your students. Are you showing them ways they can use it as well? Or is this, yeah.
With my student workers, yeah, we definitely utilize it a lot for our, we have end of day reports. It's something that we do, and it does a pretty good job of creating end of day reports. So we use it for that. Not a whole lot of other things, maybe sometimes for generating an email for whenever we're reaching out to any of the staff or faculty on any issues that they have. So I'm with the emerging technology team, so we get a lot of tickets here, and it's very helpful in asking questions. So All right, looks like we may have another question.
Hi, I was just going to answer Pia's question about using it with students. Sorry, I'm the one who had my hand raised.
Yeah.
I like today we're studying for our test in class. And so one thing I did is I asked them what their study strategies were. And I specifically asked them how they used AI for studying. And so then I walked them through some ways of like how you could use it as like a tutor or how you could help it generate multiple choice questions for their study techniques, but also I was giving them examples of where it could go down the wrong path. So I gave them an example of a concept and said, we frame it in this way in this class, but there will be other things out on the internet that frame it a different way. So we have to be careful in terms of how we study. So that seemed to be really helpful for them. And they also showed me some new ways that they studied, which was helpful.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. It is a tool. It is not to be used in place of this. It is to be used in conjunction. So very good. What was your question again, Kate? Oh, my favorite way is end of day. It's nice. If I ever need to relay anything to my boss, it's a very, very nice way to do it. It can create like a nice little end of day report, and I don't really have to think about it anymore. It used to take me like 20 minutes. Now it takes me like 2. It's great. But that's she asked what was my favorite way of using it. I don't know if I repeated that. Yeah. All right. You have any more questions? Huh? Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys very much. I appreciate you. You guys were all very awesome today. I appreciate all the good questions. I think Ujwal is going to come on here, and I think the meeting's going to end.
Thank you so much, Blake, for the ways in which you can use Copilot for enhancing professors' workflow. I see a lot of professors who might be sharing this to their other colleagues as well to view these sessions on recording and see the various ways they can use Copilot to enhance their workflow. Thank you so much for your presentation. We have our next sessions lined up at 1 o'clock, which is actually from the CEO of Quintia, which is an AI-based platform for resume filtering for students. So I would appreciate if everyone could join and register for that. We have also in the chat, we have email ID of Blake. So if anyone has any question, please feel to email Blake for any other prompt guidance as well. And we have the survey link out as well. Please fill out the survey to register your attendance for the AI Innovator batch as well. Thank you so much, Blake, and everyone in the audience. See you in the next session. Have a good week of AI.
Thank you.